What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, bringing you the battle for Week 8, I believe. Wow, we are nearing the end of the season of Season 2 of the UBL, and this week we are up against Automatic and his... Okay, I'm not even going to try to say it because I know I am just going to butcher the absolute crap out of it because I am a filthy American, so I'm just going to say Automatic and his Nuzleafs. I apologize in advance, but you know what? That's what happens. But either way, before I get into the team, just a reminder that if you guys like this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button, help us out a ton. Wow, I'm tripping over my words. This is going to be a great omen for this video. But yeah, if you like the video, please leave a like, drop a comment, and click that subscribe button, as it helps us out a lot and lets us do more cool stuff for you guys. And now that I'm done with that voice, geez, there must have been something in that milk I drank. But either way, let's just go ahead and hop right into the team. Like I said, we are up against Automatic, and he has a Celesteela, Hydreigon, Jolteon, Uxie, Serena, Mismagius, Mega Gardevoir, Nidoking, Terrakion, Gastrodon, Licky, and the Rockium Z. That was not a slow roll on the Rockium Z. I just had to take a breath because I was talking way too quickly. But anyway, so the first thing I'm noticing is he has a Celesteela. I have a very, very bad history with Celesteela. I think I'm actually 1-5 against Celesteela teams, whether that's just having an awful matchup and just straight up getting beaten by Celesteela, or Celesteela teams have a penchant to, or have a tendency rather, to hacks me a lot more than other teams. So really just, yeah, Celesteela is not a thing that I like to go up against. It's kind of my kryptonite, as it were, which is actually kind of ironic considering my favorite mon is Tapu Koko. But either way, Celesteela, me no likey, bad thing to see, especially with this team. Oi. But either way, the rest of his team is just very threatening with like the Hydreigon, the Mega Gardevoir, Nidoking, Terrakion, just those 3-4 in particular I can't count. Very threatening offensively. And then even like his tier 5 Mismagius has a very solid matchup against me to where it is a threat that I have to deal with as well. So yeah, I hate this matchup, and in all honesty, I think this might be my worst matchup of the entire season. Like, in the entire league, I think Otto has the best matchup against me. So, that being the case, I'm going to go hyper-offensive against him and try to exploit the fact that he does not have a single ice resist on his entire team. As Celesteela, as the steel type, it has the secondary flying type, and Celesteela technically is still an ice resist because it just tanks hits so well. Gastrodon also gets hit neutrally additionally. So yeah, that's going to be like somewhat of the MO that I'm going for. I mean, that being said, I only have 2 ice type attacks on the team, but yeah, just really just trying to hyper offense him and see if I can just put him in a very bad spot from the get-go to where my offense is just able to pressure him too much to where he can't pressure me enough with the mons that he has. The first mon that I'm going to be bringing is a Calm Mind Mew with Ice Beam Roost and Psychic, and this is just kind of a breaker. This is my thing that can come in on like Nidoking or even the Mega Gardevoir to a lesser extent, the Jolteon, like a Hydreigon locked into Draco Meteor, even Celesteela if it doesn't have Heavy Slam. Just set up on those guys, punch a hole in his team, and then just hope that the mons that I took out are sufficient for the rest of the mons on my team to be able to clean up the game. I mean, it's just very straightforward. Have Mew be fat, try to take out a couple mons, and then just sort of win from there. The speed is enough to speed creep Hydreigon, creeping a Porygon Z. The HP is enough to guarantee live 2 non-boosted Stone Edges from a Terrakion, and then I just threw the rest into special attack so that I can hit as hard as possible. Next up, we have my main win con. Actually, I have like 2 quote-unquote win cons. This is the true win con of the team in Autotomize, Ironhead, Clanging Scales, Close Combat, Life Orb, Komao, and the nickname is an allusion to the fact that I am very bad at drafting dragon types recently, and Komao is just another one in the line of dragon types that I have been wrong about. But either way, that being said, Komao has an amazing matchup in this, well, matchup. And with the combination of moves that it has, with sufficient damage on like Celesteela, Uxie, and Mega Gardevoir, like Mega Gardevoir only needs 2 rounds of rocks before Ironhead potentially knocks out a max HP version. Celesteela needs to be chipped down pretty sufficiently. I mean, if it's not a defensive set, then that helps even more. But if it is a defensive set that needs to be chipped down pretty hard. And then also Yuxi just kind of walls it and can do like psychic T-wave shenanigans that just lower Como-O's longevity. But apart from that, if I can get up to +2, which I would have the opportunity to do against his potential Scarfers like Celesteela, or not Celesteela, Hydreigon and Terrakion, those are the two that I'm thinking that are going to be his Scarfers, then Como really has a very good chance to win, as Clanging Scales is just so spammable and hits so hard against his team. And then close combat covers like Terrakion, one hit guaranteed, hits Celesteela harder, and then Iron Head is obviously for the Mega Gardevoir. So basically just the moves that I have cover his team very nicely. The speed is enough to guarantee to outspeed Scarf Terrakion at +2, maximize my special attack, as that is going to be the stat for the move that I'm spamming the most, and then just threw the rest into attack to hit a little bit harder and hit an HP number that, as it turns out, I ended up accidentally hypertraining my Como and HP. So yeah, sad time there. It ended up being 150 in the game, and I was just like, huh, well, that's unfortunate. But either way, I mean, that's my fault. But yeah, this Como is my main win con, as it just hits his team insanely hard and has a very good chance to set up in the late game. Next up, we have my dedicated lead. Like I said, I am going to go HO in this matchup. Well, Seismitoad is going to be the lead. Just get up rocks, knock off something, weaken something. Like mainly, Seismitoad's job is to weaken, if not get rid of Yuxi. Like, if I can sack my Seismitoad for getting rocks up on a Yuxi while bringing it low, even if he gets rocks up and knocks out my Seismitoad first, I will consider that a beneficial exchange for me, just because I will have weakened Yuxi, which was one of the mons, stopping my Como and also my Aerodactyl, but I'll get to that in a second, from being able to win the game. So yeah, Seismitoad job is just to get up Stealth Rocks and be an annoyance, maybe wear down something, yada yada yada. The defense is enough to guarantee live 2 non-boosted close combats from Terrakion, get my Ayapapa, and just be like a Seismitoad that won't die. Just nice and annoying for him to deal with. Next up is an Aerodactyl, and because Como is my offensive win condition, this is just kind of my tank a hit, you can't kill me late game win condition, if that makes sense. While Como can like Oko everything, Aerodactyl will just live and not die, thanks to the bulk that I'm able to run on it. And then Edgecrake just covers his team, that's all I need. And then Roost and Toxic just for longevity on my part and lowering the longevity for him. The speed is enough to speed creep a Jolteon, speed creeping a Persian. The defense and HP combination is enough to guarantee live Adamant, Scarf Terrakion's close combat after rocks. Just guaranteed take that, knock it out with Earthquake, and then just threw the rest into attack with Adamant in order to hit a little bit harder, just have a little bit extra damage output that might come in clutch in some situations. The last two mods are going to be my double Scarf Core. The first one is going to be a Choice Scarf Magnezone, as, like I said, need to damage Celesteela. This is a nice way of being able to do that with Volt Switch, and then also potentially finishing off with Thunderbolt, but also is a good revenge killer for like his Mega Gardevoir, his Terrakion, and then just a nice Dragon Resist for Hydreigon, and then Toxic finally is for his fat stuff like Gastrodon, Jolteon, Yuxi that want to try to come in on Magnezone. The speed is enough to guaranteed outspeed Terrakion, just hit that benchmark and be able to revenge kill it. And finally, we have a Jolt set in, yeah, I mean, I gotta give Jolt credit for this one because it really was a very, very, very cool set that he decided, that he gave me the idea for, and that is a Choice Scarf download Porygon Z. And you might be thinking, why download? Well, no, that's not a typo. That is return in that third slot, along with Ice Beam, Psychic, and Shadow Ball. Ice Beam for the lack of Ice Resist that he has on his team. Psychic just for a guaranteed way to revenge kill Terrakion. And then Shadow Ball because Missy is a big threat, and I just want a way to be able to hit that thing very, very hard and potentially take it out in 1 or 2 hits, depending on the situation. And then return because Gardevoir and Licky Licky are hit harder by return, and Terrakion still gets hit decently by to return to where Mega Arrow's Earthquake is able to take it out. So just kind of a very cool set, and especially considering that I have a PZ, he might be more inclined to give me the attack boost, so I want to try to exploit that as much as I can. The speed is enough to speed creep Terrakion. The defense and HP, or the special defense and HP rather, is enough to guaranteed live a crit Dark Pulse from Modest Hydreigon after rocks. You might laugh at that calc, but it actually came up a couple times. So I was like, you know what? Screw this. I am not going to deal with it. Just going to go ahead and change it to mild from rash and throw 20 into Spit F to guarantee take that. Maxed out my special attack and then threw the rest into attack. So a +1 return can hit very, very hard. Actually, surprisingly hard. So yeah, that is the team. And let's just go ahead and hop right on over to the battle. Alrighty, here we are in the battle, and the first thing I'm noticing is that there is no Missy, there's no Nidoking, there's no Gastrodon, and there's no Licky Licky. So, I mean, admittedly, Licky Licky was kind of one of the least of my worries, because, I mean, I did have Como that just obliterates it. Nidoking was an actual huge worry, as I just don't have really anything that switches into it, so I'd have to deal with it offensively, if anything. And then also the Missy being a way to check my Mew. So looking at his team, I'm really thinking that Mew, if I can get set up, can put a ton of work in. But that being said, like I said in the team preview, or in the team builder rather, I am going HO, so I'm just going to lead off with my Seismitoad and just go from there. So I'm really not sure what he's going to lead with. I'm thinking that Uxie would be the most likely lead, as, I mean, it just gets up rocks against literally everything on my team, takes whatever hit anything on my team wants to go for, but he actually ends up leading with the Hydreigon, and I was like, huh, well, if this is Specs, then a Draco Meteor can just absolutely blow me away, but nonetheless, still going to go for my rocks, because a Draco would, from a Scarf, would actually put me potentially in Iapapa range, which would be gorgeous, but he does just U-turn out, reveals that that is a timid Hydreigon, like that's a timid Hydreigon's U-turn, and so I'm thinking, okay, this is just going to be a Scarf set. I mean, that makes sense why I'd lead off with it, just outspeed and get up rocks. As the Uxie comes in, and I'm immediately able to get up my rocks and then get a knockoff on him as he gets his rocks up. So, like I was saying in the team builder, if Seismitoad can just take Uxie down, or like not even necessarily knock it out, just like get it low enough to where my Como will be able to take it out with the clanging scales. That's all I need. And because he had to switch in his Uxie, that is beautiful. He misses a Toxic, which is unfortunate, as I hit mine. And this is going honestly exactly as I kind of thought it would. I was figuring it would just kind of be Uxie versus Seismitoad, both of us just wearing each other down and essentially just taking each other out. He does go for another Toxic and hits it, as I am able to just go for another knockoff. And now at this point thinking that maybe he'll want to try to go into Terrakion on the knockoff to get the justified boost. I'm going to go for the Scald, knowing that the Poison will in conjunction with my Scald, be able to take the Uxie out. The Scald definitely will not be, but the Poison afterward definitely will, and if he wanted to switch, I can maybe get a burn, and he will go down to the Poison. So Seismitoad actually able to 1v1 this Uxie, take that out. That is huge. Now all I need to do is just get a tiny bit of chip off on the Gardevoir and take the Celesteela out, which should be relatively easy with my Magnezone. And then Como does have the chance to win. He goes into his Terrakion. What's kind of funny is I think that the miss on the Toxic actually hurts me a little bit more, because had I been Toxicked on that first turn, I probably would have been put into my Iapapa range, and then I could have scouted out this Terrakion set a little bit better, like figured out if it was banded or scarfed or whatever. But now that he went for the close combat, knocked out my Seismitoad, even a Scarf would have been able to knock me out. Actually, would have needed an absolute min roll to not knock me out. I'm thinking that this Terrakion is Scarf. I'm just going to go into my Mew and start setting up. Just be like, okay, well, Mew is going to break something. Celesteela is a very obvious switch in, but all I need to do is just chip that thing down, and then Como will be able to win the game later. So yeah, Celesteela can Leech Seed. It can also go for like Heavy Slams, which will be doing quite a bit to my Mew, but I'm just going to scout out the damage, try to see what Celesteela wants to do, figure out what type of set it is, and I end up freezing the Celesteela, which I'm not going to lie, is insanely gigantic. I was able to freeze it before he was even able to get a Leech Seed off. And now seeing my opportunity with the Celesteela frozen, I'm admittedly going to try to get greedy on this. I'm just immediately going to go for a second Calm Mind and try to just set up to where I can just absolutely destroy his team. But he ends up thawing immediately, which, I mean, okay, that's fair. I mean, it's unfortunate that he ended up thawing immediately, but, like, that I can't complain about it at all. Like, that's perfectly reasonable. And as soon as he thawed, I was like, okay, that's okay. Like, it's less than ideal for me, given that he was frozen, but, like, I would rather I would rather him not be frozen just so this game can play out the way it's supposed to, like if he had not gotten frozen. And he actually ends up revealing to have the flash cannon, which is insane for me. Like, my Mew can legitimately get up to a pretty decent boost and then just at least get 2 kills, at least kill the Celesteela, and then kill whatever he goes into next. So yeah, he does have the Leech Seed on me, which is fine, but with the combination of Roost and Calm Mind, even though Celesteela will be getting back to a good amount of health, Mew will always be able to beat it, barring like back-to-back crits. I think that's the only way Celesteela would be able to beat me in conjunction with Leech Seed. So yeah, Celesteela is getting up health really, really quickly, but at the same time, I mean, like, Mew is just able to keep it relatively low to where, like, a close combat or something would be able to take it out, and I freeze him again. So I got 2 freezes this game, but, I mean, I'll be completely honest, this second freeze really didn't matter all that much, as he already had the Leech Seed on me. The only thing that would have kept him from being able to... Like, the only thing that he's not able to do while frozen is go for, like, Protect or Flash Cannon, but Flash Cannon, again, not doing crap. He already has the Leech Seed on me, so he's going to be able to heal damage, or he's going to be able to heal, yeah, damage back, heal health back from my Mew, potentially get out of range of Ice Beam. And now that, I mean, I'm going to play this exactly the same way as if he hadn't been frozen. I'm just going to go for Calm Minds, and because he moved before me that turn, revealed that he went for Protect as I went for the Calm Mind, so that, being frozen on that turn, did not matter at all. I'm just going to get Mew up to a very high amount of health. I'm eventually going to try to roost up to where only, like, I'll take minimal damage from Flash Cannon on that turn. Like, I'm still, like I said, playing this out as if I wasn't frozen. I'm going to go for the Ice Beam here, as I know that a +3 Ice Beam will not be able to take out the Celesteela, and then I will be able to, like, roost off the damage and whatnot, just be at a very high amount of health for whatever he wants to go into next. And yeah, I mean, he eventually thaws, which is fine. As you can see, Flash Cannon is doing absolutely nothing. So the freeze, while initially unfortunate, really all that the freezes did was just kind of prolong this situation. I would have been forced to use a couple more roosts in order to get to the position that I'm in right now. Like, that's legitimately the only difference, is I would have had to use a couple more roosts and he could have potentially crit me. But now that Mew just took a Flash Cannon, I mean, that did almost nothing. That did virtually nothing. I am in a position where I can just go ahead and try to take the Celesteela out with an Ice Beam. I think at this point Otto is thinking that I'll just set up again, but I mean, even if he goes for Protect, all that means is I'm just going to go for another Roost while he tries to go for Flash Cannon, and eventually the Celesteela will go down. So now my Mew is at +3/+3 and nearly full health. I'll be able to KO whatever he sends in next as he goes into his Terrakion. And so I'm one of those people that, like, I will never be greedy. Like, 99% of the time, I am not greedy. I was thinking that this Terrakion was going to bust its Z move, at which point Mew could survive, and then I would be able to roost off that damage and then be out of range of another Stone Edge to where I could eventually take this on. But turns out he's banded. So what I should have done immediately was just take out this Terrakion. I had zero reason not to. Terrakion is a huge, huge threat to me, and with that Leech Seed, he's even actually back at full. So I'm getting punished so hard for my greedy play, as a second banded Stone Edge will be able to knock me out. Now that sucks. That really, really sucks. I mean, that was a very stupid play on my part. I should not have gotten greedy. I should have just taken the knockout on Terrakion, because now the Terrakion is even out of range of Adamant Earthquake from Mega Aerodactyl. So I'm going to have to play this endgame very smart. I think it might have to come down to sacks ultimately for me to be able to win this game, just getting a 50-50 or 2 right. I'm going to go for the Iron Head, as I predicted that he would try to switch into Gardevoir on, like, the close combat, but he goes into Jolteon, takes a decent hit from it, but that's not the end of the world, as now I'm going to go into my PZ. Honestly, it was just kind of like, I don't know, I was just kind of like sacking it off, thinking, okay, I can take a hit from whatever Jolteon wants to go for, and I'm realizing at this point, PZ does not outspeed his Jolteon. I outsped Terrakion, but not his Jolteon, so luckily, the investment that I added to not be one-hit KO'd by a crit Dark Pulse comes into play right there, as I am able to live the Life Orb Thunderbolt from the Jolteon and then knock it out with Return. And I was thinking, okay, he's just going to go into Hydreigon, U-turn out, and Revenge kill me, but he goes into his Gardevoir, and I'm thinking, he doesn't think I'm scarfed. I mean, to be fair, I should have definitely outsped the Jolteon. Like, that was just kind of an oversight on my part, thinking that he wouldn't bring the Jolteon. But that's actually going to play into my favor at this point, because he sends out the Gardevoir. I'm guaranteed to be faster because I am scarfed, just not fast enough to outspeed a Jolteon, and I'm going to be able to get a +1 return off on the Gardevoir. Now, I'm thinking it'll be bulky. It just goes down. This was a fully offensive Gardevoir that just dropped to a +1 Porygon Z, and I was kind of like, oh crap, wow, okay. Well, that worked out amazingly for me, because now the Hydreigon comes in. I thought he would just U-turn out into the Terrakion, and then I'd have to play the sack game like I said, but he goes for Dark Pulse, which just essentially wins me the game, as I'm able to go into my Kommo-o, Autotomize up. He's guaranteed a Scarf Hydreigon as he outsped my Porygon Z. I will be able to Autotomize, and I will be able to win the game with this Kommo-o. Now, back to the turn where I had Kommo-o in on Choice Banded Terrakion. I thought about Autotomizing at that time, but I thought to myself that, okay, Ironhead, I mean, he's probably a bulky Mega Gardevoir. Ironhead will not be able to one-shot that thing after Rocks, because, I mean, again, I need a little bit more chip damage on that before Kommo-o would be able to win. Well, it turns out, had I just gone for the Autotomize right there, Kommo-o could have straight up won the game. Would have been able to knock out the Jolteon on incoming, would have been able to one-hit KO the Gardevoir with a Life Orb Ironhead, then would have been able to knock out the Hydreigon and the Terrakion, as I just did, and win the game. So, yeah, I actually could have won 4-0 instead of 3-0, but we are luckily still able to nonetheless come out with the win. Otto, I'm very sorry about the freezes, but I feel like I explained it well enough. Like, the freezes obviously sucked, but I don't think that... I mean, I really don't think I would have played that any different. I would have gotten Mew up to at least +3/+3 like I did against the Celesteela, and barring crits on his end, it really wouldn't have been able to do anything. Mew would have just been able to still KO the Celesteela, still be at +3/+3. I was very stupid not going for just the knockout on Terrakion and trying to get greedy, and luckily Kommo-o was able to pick up the slack later in the game by Autotomizing up on the Hydreigon, locked into Dark Pulse, and then winning the game. But also Porygon Z almost didn't bring it this week, but Porygon Z was like, nah, bro, you brought me. I'm going to get you. I'm going to help you out. But that was honestly so huge. The fact that I did not outspeed the Jolteon, still able to KO that thing, survive and KO that thing, and then bluff that I wasn't Choice Scarfed, where I was able to knock out the Jolteon and knock out the Mega Gardevoir, was insanely huge, and we are able to win 3-0, and I think I am one game away from clinching playoffs at this point. I think, yeah, all I need is one more win, and we clinch playoffs. So, good game to Automatic, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and this is Styx, signing out. Why not? See you guys.